In this video, we strive to remain spoiler-free, discussing only story and plot elements from the books relevant to what has occurred already on the show.
Hi, I'm Max.
I am NyNiamh.
Tavern.
I'm Bill.
I'm Jim.
And I'm the Geeky Hippie. Welcome back to What the Adaptation. We've got a big old party here tonight. This is our largest panel yet. I've been looking forward to these guys being on. We're here to discuss the season 3 of The Wheel of Time as a season, not just individual episode by episode. And I'd like to point out we've got Jim. Welcome back. How you doing?
I'm great. I had to come. I have to maintain my status as the closer.
Exactly. NyNiamh, thank you for joining us again in the middle of the night. I'm so glad you did. I missed having the opportunity to talk with you last time you were on. But we've also got a first-time guest, Tavern, up above me there. How you doing, Tavern?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you for coming on. I've been wanting to get you on for something for a while, and I figured this will be our last on the Wheel of Time for a while, so let's try for that.
All right.
So, Max has got a format worked out for us on how we're going to do this discussion, but I want to just throw out the question. How do you rank this season compared to the others? And is it by far the best? Is it without any question?
Without a question. Tough.
I mean, if we're comparing it to the first two seasons, 10. I mean, it took a kaiju step up.
It did.
It is amazing. So, yeah,
So
I mean, everything.
Yeah.
Agreed. This was the best season.
Even I was happy with it. I mean, Glenn Bewey's not here tonight, so that should say something.
Is the season a 10 out of 10? Okay, that's a different question. But compared to the other two, yeah, it's awesome.
I'd agree with that. I don't know if anyone has anything else more saying that.
Go ahead.
As far as our main questions for tonight, it basically be, so I guess one way to look at this would be, our first one would be biggest changes for the season, and positives or negatives.
Well, I mean, elephant in the room, we had 2 deaths that do not occur in the books at all. So I think we got to address that right off the bat. That is a huge change. But honestly, I think they work.
Wasn't it 3?
I agree with Bill.
Well, Samael, unless you're counting it. Samael.
Well, yeah, 3. Yeah.
Well, no. Robin. Well, I mean, I'm talking. All right. So I'm thinking Valda, Loyal, Swan, and Samael. So that's 4.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Loyal is the one that, they could decide to change that if they wanted.
Yeah.
So, part of this question would be what were changes you enjoyed this season, and what were changes you didn't enjoy?
I'll put it. I'm going to say it. This is going to sound morbid to say, but I enjoyed Loyal's death.
I do too.
I love the character. I hate the fact that they killed him off, but I completely understand it on a lot of levels, including narratively and monetarily too. Because he is the most expensive character on the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the overtime in the chair and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I would disagree. Moraine is the most expensive character on the show.
Most expensive actor.
Yeah.
I'm not talking actors, because it's not Moraine that's expensive. It's the actor who's expensive.
Yeah.
In this case, it's the character. No, in this case, it's the character because it's everything to do with Loyal, not Hamad. So I'm fine with that change. Yeah, I'm totally fine with that change. It works for me, and I think it streamlines a lot out of the rest of the story that we don't need.
I agree with you, Glenn. I think it really works because I think a lot of people were upset because of who he is in relation to the books as the author. But when you look at his actual story per se, I think the way they've done this has actually been really good, and it gives him a lot more purpose than he has in the books.
Yeah, he does.
You know,
he doesn't do a lot going forward in the
This is
book.
where I would disagree.
Small stuff.
See, I would disagree.
Stuff over a lot of books.
Take Norman Garden's statement here, and this is where I disagree. Because take it Leandrin's story. She does absolutely none of this stuff in the TV show.
Right.
So
I'm actually tired of Leandrin.
she does absolutely none of this stuff in the TV show, but they added to her story in the TV show.
You know, I'm
Right.
really
They could have
gonna
added to Loyal's story just as like they did to Leandrin.
Do we have room to do that though?
Talking about eyebrows and ears. I mean,
They
I really
could
gonna
have-
miss that, but
We're supposed to be losing Leandrin, Moraine, Lanfear, but they chose not to.
you know, the thing with Loyal, I can live with the change, but not the way they did it. It was, to me, that was poorly executed. That made no sense. I'm just gonna hit
Falling
this and
into
the whole thing
oblivion
falls apart.
forever.
Yeah.
Or
Well,
Like it
pointing
wasn't
out
connected
when-
to something behind him. I mean, what?
And part of it is also they
why he was
sidelined his whole story throughout season 1, 2, and 3.
I was
They
questioning
enhanced
why he
Leandrin.
had to be on the inside of the Gway Gate in the first place.
Yeah, it didn't make sense.
So
Bill?
so I think they were trying to allude, or I wouldn't. Well, it was almost like an Easter egg where, you know, in the books you have to close it from the inside and the outside,
Right.
And I think that they showed the outside where he used the leaf and all that stuff. And I thought we were going to get something similar once he went in, and we got this completely different. I was like, I didn't understand what was happening. My brain went to the fin. It was.
I don't see how he thought he was getting out.
I know. I knew he wasn't.
I knew he wasn't.
Yeah.
I knew he wasn't coming back because what he said to Bane and Chiad.
Right.
I mean, they set it up. I mean, as far as a TV storyline goes, right? They pretty much check the boxes that normally are checked for that kind of thing. Same with Swan. They amped it up to the point where you knew she wasn't coming out of there.
Oh yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
and don't get me wrong, they were fantastic endings.
Yeah.
I still didn't like it.
Oh, I agreed, 100%.
My thing with Loyal is you have to consider the actor. He has been very open that it was a very difficult role due to the heavy prosthetics, how much weight he lost, how difficult it was for him to just move and stand and walk with all that stuff on. So I think that also might have weighed a little bit into it. We don't know for sure, but he's been very open that it is the most difficult thing he has ever done. So I try and keep that in mind, that it very well could have been him going, look, guys, I love you, but I am dying.
Yeah. Max, remind us what the original question was.
Changes you
changes you liked,
you enjoyed this season, or changes you didn't enjoy?
Okay, the biggest that I didn't enjoy, and at the same time there were cool aspects of, was that final confrontation between Moraine and Lanfear. Because there were parts of that were cool and parts of it that made zero sense. This has nothing to do with it being a change from the book. I mean, yes, it's a change, but come on. She's got a freaking sword through her. Lanfear just stands there and watches her slowly pull it out. And that's just one little itty bitty element of it that is bad storytelling.
Choking her with the one power rope when she could have just used it to garrote her to death. You know.
Well, okay, listen. If we're gonna take that path, then we're gonna have to say what they all have done, which is, instead of just killing somebody, right? They push them, or they trying to trip you had the element of both Samael and Lanfear both had element of surprise. Could have just killed him. Like when Samael came in to attack Rand with the Aiel, what was the point of him knocking them over? I would have just opened the gateway, snip, you're done, I'm out.
So
they do that. We don't have a story, people. Everybody realizes that, right?
I get that, but they overuse the same gimmick. Remember in season 1, how many people got stabbed from behind through the throat? Right? It was quite a few. In this one, how many people came through a gateway and knocked somebody on their ass with a freaking thing? Again, they keep reusing the same thing over and over. And I was telling somebody on one of the other shows, I don't know if it was my show. Wait, was it Will's show last time? It might have been. I don't remember. But I was saying that it got to the point where I became desensitized to show deaths because they kill so many people and then just bring them back. Right? And then they showed Moraine and Lanfear dying over and over and over and over and over, right? In the rings. And so to the point where somebody gets hurt now or somebody gets killed, you're like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how is Alana still alive? Yeah. Episode 7. How is Alana still alive?
Don't get me started on Alana. I love Alana, but holy shitballs.
I was going to mention, though. Sorry. I was going to quickly mention Rand, season 2, straight up just kills, I can't remember his name right off the bat, or the one power.
Oh, yeah, Turok.
Yeah. Yeah, the
basically
Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
right. that was a fun moment.
I just don't have time for you right now, and kills him. I've got more important things to worry about.
Yeah, and most of his displays of power have been like that.
Remember how fast Lanfear killed that guy with the horse?
Oh,
the horse head just went pop.
But what level was Rand at? Because that was a lot of magic missiles. It wasn't 3.
Yeah,
there's quite a few. No. I want to know what level he was at.
It killed everybody, and my favorite part was they all died kneeling. They're all on their knees, like sitting up, but kneeling to the dragon.
Totally got that.
So, made me happy.
It was pretty good. It was pretty.
So
good.
I just kind of want to point out maybe the theme of like Rand's character being more utilitarian in his straight up, just gonna kill you right now and not make you suffer like Lanfear is trying to do.
Oh yeah, I mean he did it with Turok. He did it with Samael when he dropped the lightning on him. That was like a no-brainer. He blocked it. And he was like, "Okay, I'm done." That was
to take into consideration the effect that it would have on Moiraine to be stabbed with Lan's sword. So rather than just take her out with the one power. The fact that she's getting stabbed with her warder's sword and the sword of Malkier, I think that has more of a powerful message, really. And I think that's why it was repeatedly that in her death cycle, where you constantly saw that she was getting stabbed with Lan's sword. That was playing a role. So even after we saw the sequence of all her death, the fact that she didn't die makes you question, well, what's to come? Are we going to get round 2, or is this to say that because this death didn't occur at this point when we saw her in that costume in the sand multiple times, is this hinting that in this cycle of her life, Rand is the one who dies?
Yeah, I mean that's definitely a thought. I mean, I know that in the episodes leading up to it, she had that conversation with Lan. I think she was having, and she didn't say I die. She just kept saying I'm not at the last battle. Right. She's not saying I didn't make it to the last battle. I'm not at the last battle. So at that point, I think her brain was already changing the fact that I don't necessarily have to die. if I'm not there, right? The fact that she didn't die was odd. My question though is, if Lan's power wrought sword dealt a non-healable blow, I'm not sure. I thought she healed her the cut.
She had her hand over it, but it was
not the one on the throat. The one that Lan gave her.
It's still bleeding. So
was it still bleeding? Okay, I wasn't sure.
She can't heal herself.
So if
Rand's sword was not power wrought, it wasn't actually power wrought. That's my belief.
Lan?
No, I'm talking about Rand.
No. Okay, yeah. I see what you're saying. Back to season 2. No, my question was, what effect does that have on Moraine? Is she affected by the non-healing blade of doom?
No.
No more so than normal. No more.
Why does it affect Lanfear then?
The true power.
Oh, it's the true power. So she can't use the true power to heal herself.
Yeah, I think it's reacting to true power.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Fair enough. That was my question. Sorry to derail things.
Oh yeah, no, you're right because I went back and I'm like, okay, she stabbed Lanfear through the throat or through the heart.
Yeah, she cut a carotid.
With Rand's Heron Mark blade.
Oh, in the first one, yeah.
And I'm like, so how come that was healed? Oh, the only thing that works is that wasn't actually power wrought. It may be old.
My notes.
But yeah,
one of the first things I wrote in my notes. One of the first things I wrote in my notes when on the bad column yesterday when I started my rewatch binge was this season has too many people surviving wounds that they should not be surviving, even before magic is used on them.
That's what I was saying.
Some of them.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm going on. It was in my notes too, and like it has been a serious problem, especially Alana.
Oh no, Alana's a
pincushion.
Her Boromir moment, man. When the size of that arrow that pierced her back was like a harpoon.
I mean, her spine was shattered. I mean, come on.
It was ridiculous, the size of that arrow. And I'm thinking,
I
see what they're doing. Yeah, I'm like, I see what they're doing. It's a Trolloc arrow, so it would be bigger.
Right.
But she's tiny.
She's like, it's just a flesh wound.
Right.
She's not a big person.
She's just part porcupine. She's fine.
So on something that I did like about this season, some of the changes that I did enjoy, I did like how they fixed the creepy Elaine Tom relationship.
Oh yeah,
thing.
God for us.
What was the other thing? Oh, there was another thing that was changed that I thought I was. I enjoyed the NyNiamh motivation under the water being her daughter, as opposed to it being, land and all of that stuff.
Right.
I thought they did a really good job with that, and I liked the underlying story that they're trying to tell of Tanchico and how debauched it is, and even in the way that when they got into the Panarch Palace, all of the statues were creepy little children, which alludes to the child trade that's happening in the city, which was just disturbing, but it was a good backdrop to what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
See, a city like that would have a male Adam.
I did enjoy that conversation between Tom and Elaine,
mm-hmm.
but not where they had it.
No, in the middle of
wandering through this place with Black Aja around in Forsaken, and let's just have this deep conversation as we go.
Right. Inappropriate place. But most TV shows do that at some point or another.
Oh, they do it all the time.
Even movies do that. It's one of those tropes that or methodologies that people use in the writing room.
You ever watch Castle?
Sometimes it makes sense.
I've watched Castle. Every episode.
The conversations they have in the weirdest goddamn places. Yeah.
That's why I'm laughing. I'm like, that entire series is done with them having weird conversations in weird places. So,
yes.
Yeah.
In places that they should not be having those conversations.
It's done well.
Yep.
There's one change that I don't like, and I don't know if I ever will like it. And that's the other big death in that Swan.
Swan?
I like that one.
Yeah,
I like that.
I really like it.
I was just thrilled we can have someone die and it stays.
Well, yeah. They cut her head off, man. She's not getting up from that.
See, the irony is, I don't know how true it is, but I heard part of the reason why they wrote her out is because Sophie wanted to move along and do other acting.
Which is a horrible.
That doesn't matter because she shouldn't have been continuing in the role in the first place. She's been stilled. She no longer looks like what she looked like. It's the perfect example where recasting is called for because she literally has a different
and
face.
Wouldn't be able to do her role to the extent that Sophie did the role. Nobody would be able to compete with Sophie. Because she's just such an incredible actress.
I don't think they would have done the young version swap because they haven't done that.
No, I don't think so.
They had to stay away from the agelessness of the Aes Sedai because that's too much money, right?
But see, it wasn't even that they looked like a young version of themselves. They looked like a completely different person.
I get that, but that's in the books.
Yeah.
And so I've had this conversation several times because there are people that and luckily for me, it happened midway through season 1 when I realized I can't watch this show and enjoy it while still holding it up to the books. You can't do it.
I hear you.
Cannot do it. You have to enjoy the show for what it is. And anytime they throw you an Easter egg from the books, just accept that shit like a freaking, like a gift from on high. Right. And just because if not, I was getting too angry. Like I knew I had lost it when I got pissed off at Loyal's one line when they got in the ways and he said, "Oh, it looks like they're moving on, and Ogier are not known for their speed," or whatever that line was. It blew my mind. I was already mad about his looks, but that line that he wasn't fast, I was angry for 2 weeks about that. And I was like, "Okay, I can't do this. I can't do this."
See,
and I had to separate.
Yeah,
I didn't even get that angry.
Oh, I got pissed.
Oh, you got that angry about the Horn of Valier, Glenn. Don't lie.
Oh, the Tide
Horn with a passion.
Not as much as I hate the Waygates. Well, it's the way I hate the first 2 season Waygates.
Yeah.
Season 3 has gone a long ways to fixing
Season 3
Waygate.
was top notch.
Was starting to be good.
I refuse to call them Waygates. I've been calling them Way columns since season 1. Some bullshit. Fair. I don't like it.
All right. I want to come in positive because I've said a lot of negatives so far, but there are a few things I like. A few things I like. And the number one change that I like the most is how they introduced Lord Gabriel and all they've done with Robbie.
Yes.
Marvelous. So good.
So good.
So nuanced. There's little things in there that book readers
oh my God.
love. But anyone watching this show, that's a fantastic character. And the actor is knocking the sucker out of the park.
That's like also very hot.
Yeah. they all are attractive. I will give
Moggy
that.
going up 10.
And Moggy, Moggy,
she's incredible.
Any scene anytime she pops up on the screen, it's 10 out of 10 scene, period.
Right there. She's still hot and still terrifyingly scary.
Creepy. Yes.
Oh, yes. She's incredible.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that they took a little element from the books where we're told that she's supposed to be this scary thing and nobody who's ever sees her survives kind of thing, and never saw that ever. She was she just came I loved her, like she was my favorite Forsaken in the books, but she never came across the way that she's being portrayed by other people. So I love the fact that Leia Costa has taken Moggy and just gone, right, I'm just bringing her like right up full match.
Evil Bjork is great.
Yeah. And Evil Bjork, and not to mention that Moggy, I mean, her thing in the Age of Legends, she was a spy. She was intelligence, right? And but they don't really push that in the books. And you see it in the show with the way she's thinking and the way she's manipulating things, and the way she's maneuvering is very, very intelligence level type things. And it's just
blended her with Agenor as well, so they've brought the sick twistedness of Agenor's brain and merged it with Moggy, and it's just absolute perfection. They couldn't have merged two characters better than those two, and Leia Costa's just nailing it. She's just she gives me the creeps so much.
I shiver every time I watch her lick her lips when she that just died.
I shiver when she smiles, man. Her smile is so off-putting and beautiful at the same time that I'm like, I am confusedly turned on right now. I am scared but attracted at the same time. It is confusing.
I have nothing but love of the performances from any of the Forsaken actors at this point.
Absolutely.
I feel the same.
And that includes the guy who played Samuel.
Terrified of now,
which they couldn't have picked someone better for Samuel. Just get some really, coarse-looking Glaswegian and stick him in as,
so good.
Samuel.
I was still saying, I still say for Samuel, they should have done Danny DeVito.
Oh God.
That's just no, man.
Come on.
I was going with
No.
I always wanted Neil McDonough.
All I'm gonna see is Frank, man.
Dugan.
I can see Danny DeVito as a Trolloc. Just that one odd Trolloc that walks
the
out.
bird Trolloc.
Danny DeVito would be a Kyrian and Noble.
Like a partridge Trolloc.
DeVito would be a Kyrian and innkeeper.
He would be amazing.
He would.
He would
Yeah.
be oh my God, no. What was the Heron? No, Fell.
Heron
Fell. Oh my God, DeVito as Heron Fell would be insane.
Yeah, we couldn't have DeVito
I
as
could
an
actually get
innkeeper
behind
because we'd have to trust him. Short and fat, we'd have to trust him.
Yeah.
So, no,
Never trusted any skinny innkeeper.
If he's gonna be an innkeeper, he's gonna be named Frank. So.
And
right.
Bill, I agree with you about Magedian being hot. I get the same willies with her as I do the RBF evil Imperial officer on Andor, the blonde lady. There's something I don't know what it is about her.
Pedro Nero.
Yeah, I don't know what's about her, but she's good looking in a evil just way.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
when
it's
we had
a
the
thing.
original-
I don't understand it. I don't
when we
question it.
had the original casting for Lanfear, I remember people just complaining, how can this possibly be?
She's gorgeous.
She is so Lanfear.
I'm not saying she's not beautiful. It just she wasn't what
Again,
I
I don't
pictured.
agree
the
with
kind of
everything-
actress I picked.
I don't agree with everything that's been done with the character. I like a lot of it. I don't agree with everything, but that's the writer's issue. That's not her. She's just delivering on all levels. Beautiful.
Don't worry, no Garden. I'll keep it away.
Oh wow, we've got
my Jeep Willies. My Jeep Willies.
Good evening, chat.
Jeep Willis.
Where we at, Max?
I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
We're
Max.
still talking about stuff. I was gonna mention with Moggy that she's a good example of how even when you don't really give her a lot of scenes, she can still come off as a competent villain. Even though she doesn't, like I said, she doesn't really have a lot of scenes. We're not giving a lot of stuff to do, like we did with Leandrin. But she steals the show with what they've given her for an actor.
No. Anytime, like I said, anytime she's on screen. And it could be anything. Like, I mean, that whole thing where she was just walking down the hall with the laundry and then starts eating the laundry. I was like,
running it over her face, ripping up their
I was like, it was perfection.
It was.
It was perfection.
It was.
She's had about 5 or 10 minutes of screen time tops.
Yeah.
One of these
Not
days
even
we find out that
I
was
don't
all
even think she's had 5 minutes. It's crazy.
Well, that would make me so happy if that was all ad lib. That would make me
that
so
would
happy.
be funny.
The fact she tore Samuel apart by each sinew in his body and hung him up and just literally, oh my God. It was
And she was having such glee to try it.
I know. She's the most sick and twisted.
What did she say? Shall we begin? Is that what she said?
Yes, I think so. Something like that.
Like,
I've always wanted to see if I can, if Chosen can die. And it's like for a minute there, Samuel doesn't realize that she's talking about him.
And it's funny because right before that moment, when we were talking about things that they put in, like Easter eggs that they put in, they hide things in plain sight. And right before that scene, when Moraine was talking to Samael in the cave, we find out that his shield was tied off, right? And everybody's like, how the hell did he get his? It's because Moraine learned from what Ishi did to her, right?
Yeah.
And so then later on we realize, we find out that she did see Lanfear, gate away. So she's going to learn that. But it's little things like that they put in that they don't talk about because they didn't mention it, that she learned that from him. Just like the Ashendare sticking in the freaking top of the damn door frame that he was hanging from. They didn't even mention it.
It was there for just a blip.
And you know what? That wouldn't bother me. That wouldn't bother me if it wasn't the fact that the fact that it's there and it's not mentioned bothers me because they immediately jump. The next thing we see with them is them on the boat at the very end.
Oh yeah, but that scene was
if they had not included that one shot. So many of the things that bothered me about that episode, with the way that episode ended, wouldn't bother me if they hadn't included that last shot of the Tanchico crew getting on a ship.
Yeah, but the
because
thing
you didn't
is,
see him
that
with it.
scene That scene was filmed when they did the other Wave Sisters scenes.
Yeah.
And they could have been filmed in Prague, whereas the scenes in Tanjika were filmed in South Africa. So they might not have had the props with them in the same way. Like, that could have been a prop developed there in South Africa, or it could have been already on site in South Africa when they were filming the Wave Sisters scenes. So
and if you
take little things like that into consideration, and also it could have been.
That's why I'm saying it was. I just think that one shot should have been removed, and it wouldn't be an issue for me or anybody else, because I know there are others who are annoyed by it. Not upset or angry, but annoyed.
If you want to go out on a limb for that, right? And again, you have to kind of put on your TV hat for it. Why would he be walking around with the Ashendari on the ship? Right? They're on the ship. They're all watching out the ship. It's probably in the cabin.
It looked like it just got on the ship.
With Tom. Tom is guarding the Ashendari.
Yes, because cabin. Tom was not on the ship. We did not see Tom. And I was upset because I really wanted to see Julian. I wanted to be a...
I still think he's the guy with the hat. I still think he's the guy with the hot guy with the hat.
You mean the guy with the abs?
One of the
I hate that guy. His existence is an insult to me as a human. He is too beautiful. I am angry about it. I'm just telling you now.
Hot.
Yeah, we don't talk about the guys with the abs.
Yeah. His Instagram is insane. I'm like, nobody should be that pretty. I don't like.
I'm not following. I'm not following the secondary characters. I love most of them, but not all of them.
What you're saying is, I need to follow him on
I am.
Instagram.
I follow everybody. You kidding?
There's a change that I do like, and it's sort of bringing something forward from later. But it's one of my favorite scenes of the season. It was in episode 8. The conversation between Rand and Moiraine, where they come to terms.
Yeah.
Where they have a grown-up conversation.
Yeah, and
great. Both of them are being grown-ups for the first time with the other.
Wait. Communication in my wheel of time? Are you out of your
mind? Yes, but it was that's why it's such a change. But that's my favorite scene from that episode. It's probably my second favorite scene of the season.
Nice.
I kind of agreed with you on that. I kind of liked it, but when I shared that with my son, he went off on me. And he had a point. And his point was nothing that's happened in the show up to this point justified that conversation. Like, yay! No, they haven't done enough in the story for him to truly feel that way about Moiraine now. I'm like,
I don't know. She's put herself on the line, like death line for him several times.
Well, not just that.
A lot of what happened in episode 4.
Always been there for me, he says. That's not how he's felt a whole bunch of the time.
No, but she's the one who pulled him back from the brink when he's trying to resuscitate the little girl. He had that conversation earlier in the season where they're trying to work it out, and it doesn't work. And when you go back through the season,
I liked it, but I get that some people hated it for that reason. They didn't feel like it was justified.
Yeah. No, I gotcha.
So here's a question for you. Season 4, do you think there's a possibility they'll do what they did in Dragon Reborn, where he's going to run away and be chased by Moiraine and Nail?
We're getting season 4?
They already did that. They did that in season 1 when he left the Eye of the World. That was that aspect of it. Yeah. Him on his own.
The scene with Alcera I thought was brilliant.
That's what I think.
As a change, an alteration from the Shadow Rising. The fact that they did that scene in the Aiel Waste with someone who would be deeply connected to his people rather than just a random young girl in the Stone of Tear. I think it was so much more emotional and so much more poignant because we watched him develop a little friendship with Alcera, and the fact that he ended up accidentally killing her with his power, I think it became even more just heart-wrenching, and I that's one change, an alteration from the books that I really, really enjoyed in the series.
Yeah, I also think
I still cry over it.
No, that's it. That scene really jacked me up. Like,
Yeah.
That's probably one of the only scenes that I haven't been able to go back and watch.
I watched it again today, and I started crying again.
It's rough. It's rough. I mean, the first time, just the sound effects, the whole 9 yards was really rough. I also like the way that I think they've used Ulcera to also tie Rand to the maidens, because she wanted to be a maiden in training. He still owes her toe. She's gone now, and they really, by this time, they should have kind of made that connection between him and the maidens, and they haven't. So I think that's going to be a Stone of Tear season 4 type thing.
I'd say not just the maidens, but the list he creates.
Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. She's number one.
And you can feel why he starts that list from that scene and the way he reacts. And I think it just makes it all more poignant. Is that the right word?
Poignant. Yep.
Yeah, poignant.
Poignant English. And it's just so much deeper. It just hits you on deeper levels and is a hell of a lot more effective than book. And that's saying something, because I think it's a scene that has stayed with so many readers, probably all of us, since reading it.
Yeah, it was so much worse in the book, though. Yeah, the book version was
psychologically in the show that you don't engage in the same way in the book, but both have their same effect, but they hit you differently. I think in this one, you actually can see him break so much because he built a small.
Yeah, it was a good move. It was a good move.
Yosha killed that scene. I'm just going to say that. Yosha killed that scene.
It was brilliant.
So like when I read that scene in the books, right, in the Stone of Tear, I did not have the same emotional reaction that I did on the show. The reaction that I had to what I saw on the show, to me, if there was an equivalent to it in the books, is when he has to kill Leia in Shadar Logoth.
Right.
The maiden that he left behind, and they find her again, and he ends up having to, kill her before the Mashadar gets to her. That's the same feeling that I got from watching the whole Ulcera thing, and it was like, wow.
See, I'll give you a different parallel, something we didn't get in the show that we could have, and that's the moment with Perrin in the Two Rivers when he learns about his family in the book.
Yeah.
That one always gets me, and that's kind of what the equivalent is of what they did with Rand here. That kind of, and I'm sad we didn't get that with Perrin, but I still liked a lot about. Amazing how many people hate Episode 7, and I kind of liked it. So
I don't. I loved it.
Okay,
speaking of
what, the Two Rivers one?
Yeah.
That was speaking
of I think it's great.
So all of you are on the right page with me then. Okay, I hear a lot of hate for Episode 7. I'm like,
speaking of Episode 7, with it. That was one of my more like changes, was the relationship with Perrin and Vale.
Oh yeah.
It's much more mature. And
it worked for me there. Totally.
And not as it's not as childish for sure. Not, it was 100% more mature.
And I loved seeing Valda taken out. That was
I loved it, but it was one of those moments. It was one of those moments like
hello, Danny.
When Fael says, "Oh, my mom was a dark friend," I was like, "Wait, what?" And then Valda gets killed, and I was like, "Wait, what?" Because now in my brain I'm like, "What happened to Galad's arc?" And then I'm like, "Who gives a shit about Galad?"
I don't think we're going to get much of Galad's arc at all.
I don't think so either.
No.
I don't think so.
I don't like how they've handled Galad so far.
I mean,
I really don't like their characterization of him.
I like the way they portrayed him.
I mean, I enjoyed what I got of Galad, but I don't think we're going to get much more of Galad.
Glenn doesn't think Galad would ever have sex with a novice. That's his problem.
I will agree.
Novice or accepted in the tower. He would see that as the wrong thing to do. He would be potentially getting her in trouble.
Oh my God, he's got less of a stick up his butt?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
No, I
he was clearly just making noises in the other room to make one up his brother.
Yeah,
they're just messing with Matt.
I like the character. I like
Yeah.
book Galad a lot. I'm kind of an apologist for people. You know, when people complain about Galad, I like to defend Galad.
I can dig book
Show Galad, I
was
can't
the problem
really.
with Galad, yeah.
The noises you heard was him and Gowan
No.
polishing their boots in their
Right.
rooms.
Gowan, I could totally see.
calling
Galad.
it
I just don't see Galad being part of that. You know, doing that himself.
I agree
Gowan
with that.
definitely.
I like the arrogance that he had, and I like the way he stepped in when he stepped in on Matt twice, right? That was pure
women's
Galad.
honor. Yeah, that's pure Galad. And
Yeah,
the way
pure
the
Galad.
actor is holding himself as if he's just, you know, I thought he was great.
Yeah,
that part is great, and I think the actor is really good looking in the part. You know, he looks like Galad to me. You know, so I'm fine with that.
I always took from the books that Galad and Gowan, especially Galad, were that he was thinner, like he was leaner.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But given what we saw on the show, I thought it was fine. I thought the character, as far as the physical actors that they chose, I thought they were fine.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with them both. My old fan casting for Galad was the guy. Have you seen Captain America: Brave New World?
Yeah.
The new Falcon.
Oh, the Hispanic kid.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I can't remember
that
his
was
name.
my fan casting for Galad.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. How tall is that guy?
I don't know.
Not that it matters.
It just because for me, I was watching for actors that had the super pretty boy face, and saw him on one of the MCU things. I'm like, that works because I put him down for Galad, and that's who I had.
See, for me in my head, it was like a young Remington Steele, Pierce Brosnan.
Oh,
Pierce Brosnan, man.
Yeah, like a young Pierce Brosnan, just walking around, strutting around with his sword and shit. That's how I pictured it in my head when I was reading it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And see, now his counterpart for Berlin, I've got Adria Arjona.
I don't think we're getting Berlin
on
all.
Andor.
That whole thing, I think it's cut.
You don't think we're getting?
I love her, but
you don't think we're getting Berlin?
I don't think we're getting that storyline at all.
I
think they've set the stage with Perrin going with the White Cloaks now for something very different, just involving Perrin and Fael. I don't think we're going to get any of Berlin.
I think it's going to depend on how many seasons they think we're going to get.
Yeah, and if we do tier, I can definitely see Berlin popping in if we're doing tier, which is everything's pointing to tier for the next season. If and when we get it.
There's
Berlin,
it is easy to cut her. You're right. It is.
It is easy, but I hope they don't.
They'll make her a dark friend.
Because now, see, I actually had a theory that proved to be wrong so far. That would have actually been able to get rid of the character Berlin, and that was the idea that Alana wanted to bond Perrin, and I thought she was going to do it, and she was going to take over that role with Fael.
Not with Fael.
I thought the exact same thing, Glenn.
It's not out of the realm of possibility yet.
No.
I don't think she will. Not with Fael right there. Fael will stab her, and everybody knows.
Yeah, Fael won't mess around.
But you're talking about stabbing Alana, okay? That's not going to kill Alana. She likes to get stabbed. Don't forget that.
So we've noted.
That's the funniest.
You never know.
I was going to say, change we haven't really talked about was the very first scene of the season. We didn't get that in the books.
The fight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was delightful.
We hear about it.
Finally, the power is powerful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was incredible.
So here's my theory.
Part of me likes that first fight scene. We actually got to see it. But also part of me doesn't like some of what they did and like how they managed to escape like they did. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Some of it just came off a little, I don't know, a little hokey.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. My thing on the first 11 minutes of this season was we got that because they got a bigger budget and they were like, look what we can do. This is what we can do now.
Yeah, it was a showcase.
And because they freaking put everything. They had, I want to say they probably spent more in that first 11 minutes than they did in the first 2 seasons.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Felt like it. It felt like it, even if it's not actually true.
So. No, yeah, it felt like it. Yeah.
I just want to add, seeing that scene on the big screen in London was out of this world.
Sorry. Rub it in again. Really. Sure.
But no, honestly, genuinely, it was just incredible. You were just really staring at it going, what
I have
the
to admit,
hell?
though, when the episode came out, and I hadn't checked on this before, I was so glad that the first 11 minutes was the first 11 minutes that we'd seen as a preview.
Yeah.
I would have hated if they hadn't started with what I already saw.
Yeah. So like in the tower, I liked.
We just get to repeat what we already know. That's fine. Then let's get new stuff. Yeah.
Like I liked inside the tower. When they got outside the tower in the streets, that's part I was a little more wary on.
Oh, sorry. You mentioned the tower. I just got to say the one scene cracks me up when Matt goes, that looks like
yeah.
Yeah.
He's got the best lines.
We all said it. They did a good job this year of addressing some of the fan stuff. They make fun of what the horn looks like. They make fun of Tarvalin. They're listening to us. They're
No. You're right, Bill. I was going to say the one thing we were talking about. One of the things I didn't like, that even though I try real hard to separate the book and the show, I still got super pissed off again this season when I saw freaking Matt in that freaking scene with the stupid little horn around his neck. He had his little horn medallion, and it looked like the actual horn from the books. And I was like, you MNFers, you knew what it looked like, and you still gave us that other piece of shit. I was so angry.
It does not affect the story.
It doesn't
matter. Know what got me angry? The one that actually gets me angry, and it's just as silly as that, is Matt and NyNiamh sitting there eating the noodles with the Sursa, the chopsticks.
Yeah.
In the book, NyNiamh can't do it. NyNiamh she's just not able to do it. Who's the one who's able to do it on the show? NyNiamh, who can't do it. Matt, who's got the nimble fingers.
The women are all superior to the men. They've established this. That's where they want to go.
Yeah, and that does feel like what's going on with that scene.
Or maybe the actor
take away from Matt to make NyNiamh look better.
Or maybe it's showcasing that NyNiamh can pick up stuff really quick. She just has the block.
Or showcasing Matt has a sense of humor now, which is awesome.
Yeah,
that's easy to do.
And Donald's portrayal
I'm sold on Donald finally.
Brilliant. Donald.
I am completely sold on Donald as Matt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
there was no other Matt. There was no other Matt now.
Exactly. And he doesn't have
Donald
good fingers
is the
dexterity.
best as Matt. He is perfect as Matt.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just brilliant.
So, any thoughts on the scene with the eel fin? Because
I loved it.
I wanted more. That was way too rushed.
I did too.
I wanted to break out the
boots. I think they put the boots on the thing for the innkeeper.
Yeah, I don't know, but those boots were amazing. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie.
They were.
Those boots, I think, are supposed to be like his paws, his
hooves.
Yeah. So
I have nitpicks about the makeup, and that's my only problem with that scene. Is a nitpicks about the makeup, but what they did was amazing. The design itself,
with electricity.
I would change the way the face is colored. Basically, I would have less of the white, bluish white, gray, and have more of the red, especially on the upper part of the face and the snout. But
that actor's performance, though, that was great.
Oh yeah,
that was great.
My issue that I've had with anytime with the exception of the Trollocs and the Murdral, which I think they did outstanding jobs, but with things like Loyal and the Finn the Elfin that we saw, they're too human looking. Like, my only thing that I did not want going into the series, period. I've said this from day one. I did not want to see another Hagrid on screen. And what we got was a barista Hagrid. We got like a little Gen Z Hagrid with the haircut, putting out freaking lattes and shit. I did not like it. The actor, phenomenal. His portrayal, outstanding. His look bugged the shit out of me. And the Finn, not as much, but it was still too human-like for me.
Really?
I think
Okay.
I think they could have made a huge difference just by placing his ears on top of his head. If they would have put some pointed ears on top, I think it would have read more as Fox, because a lot of people, people who have never read the books are like, I don't know what it is.
Maybe they should have hired Gil Del Toro, whatever his name is, from Pan's Labyrinth.
Guillermo Del Toro.
Yeah, like they had that kind of
Listen, I don't think the Wheel of Time's ready for that dude's freaking creativity. Holy
hell. Hire his costume designer from... Hire his costume designer.
Yeah. That guy's incredible.
He is. He's insane.
Good job for
exactly.
Fur on with electricity. They created a way of adding the fur on by using electricity. Like, how incredible is that?
Oh, is that what they did for this costume? Oh, so they use static?
Yeah.
They use static electricity to add the fur to his skin.
Is it like to his real skin?
As far as I'm aware, yes.
Because that's crazy. Because that sounds like cool. But they use glue for that. But you know how you ever seeing them do you see it a lot with like model train builders and that kind of stuff, where they're putting the train and they have that little shaker with the grass and they're shaking.
Yeah, my dad was. That was my dad.
So I mean, I can kind of picture that happening, but with electricity, with static or something. That's crazy. I didn't know that.
That's why it's real on his skin. That's why it comes with that effect is there, that it just looks like it's actually.
It looked really good. No.
On technical side, it looks amazing. The design is where I have issues with it. And that's it.
It sounds like a great prank to go to a waxer after.
Yeah, it's that scene and a lot of things in episode 8 really frustrated me, that they were like throwing so much in and not giving enough time to anything. My son's theory was, it's fine, because they're just setting up season 4. And a lot of this stuff will get unpacked in season 4. I hope he's right, because, I will feel better as season 4 comes along. But despite my frustrations with episode 8 and other things, season 3 as a whole is still the most rewatchable for me. I've seen 1 and 2 enough.
Right.
But season 3, so much is so good.
Jim, don't come at me. But I'm just going to say this, and don't yell at me. Episode 8 was my favorite.
Oh.
I'm sorry, buddy.
See, mine is episode 6.
Mine was 8 because, again, like I said, when I finally decided I needed to separate the two, 8 seemed like the furthest pull from the books, because they did a lot of stuff that was very book centric in season 3. And episode 8, although they were in Al Qaeda, it was the most TV Wheel of Time episode of the Wheel of Time episodes, because it was detached. A lot of it was detached from the books, and they're really going on their own in their own kind of direction. And I just thought it was great TV. I mean, did it mesh completely with the books? No. But was it really good TV? I thought it was, for me anyways. It kept me entertained.
How is everybody not saying episode 4? I don't understand.
Episode 6 was better.
Because I was expecting episode
6 is my...
Yeah. Was it really a change, though? I mean, there are a few changes, but
they left out the whole Maidens of the Spear. They left out a bunch.
They did, but they do that. I mean, when you're adapting and they're trying to stick to the main plot.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
And they included one we don't get in the books. Yeah. We don't get Janduin in the books.
No.
Yeah.
I kind of like that they did that, though.
They traded it out for the Maiden of the Spear thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's another.
I think it was powerful that he got to see his father and his mother, and he had the blood of his mother on his hands. The symbolism of that was humongous.
It's one of my favorite parts of the entire book series, and to see them not screw it up, I really appreciate it.
Yeah,
I mean, they did it different, but they didn't screw it up.
I was waiting. During the Two Rivers fight, I was waiting for a tie-in to the columns with when Aram kills the Trolloc, and God, I can't remember her name.
Isla.
Isla walks up on him.
Yeah.
I was expecting a Hydra face from me. It would have been perfect. Would have been cliche, sure. but it would have been perfect for the show.
But thanks for
they
that,
needed to say
because
I didn't need it. It was all there in the
didn't
face.
need it.
The
They
way
didn't need it, but I would have liked to hear it.
The
the way
reactions.
Aram ends up picking up a sword in the show, I felt better about.
Yes,
than in
yes.
the books.
Yes.
I agree.
So
I
people
agree.
say it didn't need it, but that episode was the shortest episode of the season. Is 1 hour exactly.
Oh, the
104
Episode 6 or 7
304. Oh, 7?
7. Yeah,
with Aram and the sword.
Battle of Two Rivers.
It was exactly 1 hour.
Only an
They
hour.
could
They're
have
cheating us. What is that? No.
they could have given us that 10-second scene of Illa and Aram.
Yeah.
With the Tinker thing and
we might still get it.
Please don't call them.
Don't use the word tinker.
Sorry.
We might still get that scene though. Or that saying later on.
Yeah.
Because they've kind of left it where they're together in the Two Rivers still. But we might still get it. I don't know if they'll do it, but I would love to hear that again because that was such a powerful statement.
Oh, it's heartbreaking, man.
Yeah.
That makes me cry every time.
It's just the point that episode was exactly 1 hour. And we have episodes that were hour 10, hour 15.
Yep.
And they shortchanged Aaron's episode.
Yeah, well, you say they shortchanged his episode, but it was his entire episode.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he got an entire hour for his arc, pretty much, untouched by anything else. So,
but they still shortchanged even some of his stuff.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things.
Yeah.
They kept it very tight, and they also skimped on some of the Trolloc budget. They skimped on the CGI budget for Valda's fire.
Yeah, I think they borrowed some costumes from Where the Wild Things Are for the Trollocs.
Yeah, it was like in the Two Rivers. Why are all these men here? Yeah, okay, let's save some money.
Hey, one of the best.
Yeah,
one of the best scenes in the damn.
They cut
with the Trollocs.
What's his face scene? I'm trying to remember what his name is. Lord
Luke.
Lord scene.
Luke, what was the point?
Oh, listen, Luke hasn't been there since he showed up.
He had a scene during that episode, but they cut it out.
He shot Alana. What more do you want?
There's also
he had a wound or something. They cut that scene out.
There's also there was also a picture of him and Sharon Gillam where he had an arrow through his
That's
chest.
what I'm talking about.
But the thing is, did they kill him off?
Don't know.
Because we don't know, because he just disappears after he shows up. We don't know what happened to him during the fight. They don't show him again.
They showed him wide in with the white cloaks.
That's it. That was it.
Yeah.
But there
I
was
don't
a
know
scene
what
with,
the point of them was.
Yeah, I don't either. There was a scene with the Trollocs when they're first coming into
season 4.
No. Oh, you mean for season 4? Yeah. You know when they're when Fane yells, attack or whatever, and all the Trollocs start coming in behind the white cloaks. There's the funniest thing in the entire season for me was when that one Trolloc shoves the little Trolloc.
Oh, through the gate? Yeah.
Through the wood. I watched that over and over and just laugh my ass off.
Danny DeVito Trolloc.
Exactly. Oh my God. It's because he's just like, ugh. And can you imagine being the actor and not telling the guy you're going to shove him? Because that didn't look like it was practiced.
Yeah.
It just looked like he was like, ugh.
That's one stunt performer messing with another one and going, watch.
The whole point I was trying to make is that they could have gave 5 extra minutes to the episode.
Yes.
Give Isla, the Tuatha, an extra 2 minutes to do the scene with Aram. Give Valda's death a little more something than what they did.
Yeah, that fire was kind of.
It just seemed a little. It just didn't quite.
It was too fast. Valda's death was too fast.
It was good, but it just seemed. I don't know. It just didn't.
I don't agree with it, but I mean, it was soothing. I didn't agree with it, but it was soothing.
And there are some other random things in that episode here and there that they could have gave 5 extra minutes to breathe here and there. Like even during the song, they just rudely interrupted it for the horns.
Well, it was coming
because I don't think they have any more verses written. They don't have any more verses written.
Neither song has more than one verse, as far as I know.
So I do like that they chose to introduce in this season that Matt's sisters are channelers.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yes.
Let's move it faster. However, they've uber amped them way too fast. So that part, I'm like, now they can suddenly burn Valda. Now they can suddenly heal the unhealable wound in Alana. You know,
My husband has
I
the
think
same.
a little too much.
My thing with-
but I get where they did it, and I like that they've got that in the story already.
I think that they're doing, and this is a theory. Okay, this is freaking full blown out of my buttocks theory. That the fact that they're playing on the fact that they're twins, they're going to do something with that, because I have never heard in the books anywhere that there were twin channelers.
Wonder power activate.
Well,
sorry.
As you know,
as a twin,
I don't think they
I'm
can
not
channel.
normally one for the twin thing trope.
Right.
As a twin, I hate it. I hate the twin thing. Absolutely can't stand it. It's such a bad stereotype. But this was the first time I've ever seen a twin thing trope that I've actually been 100% behind.
Yeah.
And I loved it. And like with Jim, my husband also doesn't like how amped up they are. But we had this discussion only earlier on today again. And my argument is they're also wilders like NyNiamh is, except unlike NyNiamh, they want the power. They want to feel the power.
No block. Is what you're saying.
Yeah, there's no block to them. Yeah,
there's no block for them because they're together and they're working in. Well, they have a little bit of a block, but it's them trying.
Yeah.
But they really want to do it. But that little bit of fear could have come post mother, or no, you know.
Yeah.
But they really want to be channelers. They really want to be able to embrace the one power. And the unity between the two of them is what makes them amped up. So, you know, one's a booster for the other.
I was going to mention.
Mine with the healing. Go ahead, Max.
I was going to mention there is a set of twins in the books that can channel. They just haven't been born yet.
Oh well, yeah.
Yeah.
Is this true?
I mean, technically, yes.
I think they can embrace the source. But I don't think they can channel if they're not holding hands, because they're always holding hands when they channel.
Yeah.
They both embrace, but once they grab hands, that's when they channel at Volta. So I do think they have a small block. And I think if they have to be holding hands.
The fire one, that looked like pure instinct, and it made, that one made perfect sense.
They were ticked. He dies. That's
I can understand why people would question the healing. But I've come to accept it, and there's a big reason why. Is because we've already seen Egwene heal NyNiamh from what looked like death back in season 1, episode 8.
I have an answer for that.
This is no training in healing, but she instinctively is able to heal somebody. So it's
just like NyNiamh
healing is the instinctive thing NyNiamh did. When NyNiamh, go ahead, Bill.
No, Tavern was first.
No, I was going to say I had the Egwene NyNiamh thing at the end of season 1 is actually sort of canon, because during Egwene's accepted test, when she's married to Rand, she's telling a story about she says that at some points, I was this, I was that, I was married to Rand. I would take care of him when he would get sick and weird things would happen, that kind of stuff. Goes, I was apprenticed to NyNiamh, the wisdom. And there were times where she would have me sit with somebody who was on their deathbed, and I would sit and hold their hand all night, and they would be miraculously cured the next morning. And NyNiamh would grill me. What did you do? What did you give them? And I would tell her nothing, because I didn't want to say, right? Yeah. So the fact that they even mentioned that she would hold people's hands and they would come back to life, or they wouldn't come back to life. They would be on the brink of death and make a full recovery. So I don't think NyNiamh was totally dead, but that's where I'm getting from.
That's why I said it looked like death.
I'm going to remind everybody,
even in the books,
that NyNiamh, the very first time she touches the source is to heal Egwene from
Yes.
Wraithbone Fever, and it is a full healing, full
Yes.
stop,
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
argument, full healing. So it is possible. Let's not act like the girls couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
With Alana
Right.
guiding them, absolutely.
And that's the other thing is they're being guided, and that's why, you know, on top of it, healing being such an innate thing that people can do, you know, it's
and also we have to remember that they're from the Two Rivers, and they even said in the books that Matt's sister was another one of the most powerful channelers that anybody has seen, even at that age.
The blood of
So-
Manetheren.
even
Yeah,
Dave's
it's
Congar is supposed to be
100%
pretty
Manetheren. I always think it was funny. I was talking to Jansen from The Way of the Leaf, and I was telling him when we were talking about it one day, and I was like, I often think of Manetheren as not only like a stronghold for Aes Sedai and warders, because when they talk about the men of Manetheren marching back from the fields of Marilor or whatever in record time,
Hand of the Red Hand.
Yeah, it sounds to me like they had enhanced stamina and they might have been warders.
Something of that like,
Yeah, because Eldrine felt Aemon die.
Mm-hmm.
They were
Right.
bonded.
They were
bonded for sure.
They were bonded.
Yeah.
So therefore, I in my mind, I think that Manetheren was not only that, but I think that Manetheren also sits on like a ley line type nexus.
I wonder
of
if-
one power.
Do we know anything in the books if there's a limit to how many warders a single Aes Sedai could handle?
I don't
they've
think we
ever
have
said.
anything in canon
been
like
brought
that.
up.
No.
I was
But
gonna say,
I mean, now that they
Interesting
have
way to
them,
get out your
apparently
army.
it's a lot,
they don't mention anything about ley lines in real time, but there
They
is
don't.
something about harnessing elements that are actually active at the time. So like you can harness an actual storm that's going on.
Right.
Or if there's an active fire, you can use that fire and do something with it.
Yeah. I mean, we see that in the first season with Moraine pulling from the flames and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Because like in the books, there's a point where they talk about how men can do something women can't do, and that's they can bring the fire into themselves to extinguish it. If women do that, they'll like burn themselves like a torch.
Yeah, that's a prime example of the difference between the two.
But the main point is like they can take that heat and use like channeled fire to like do fireballs.
Right.
So they're using less of their own energy to shoot fireballs. So like there is the idea of like there's base elements in the world around them.
What's Gnome doing? Sorry, I just saw this wall of text.
Just giving us all this exegesis stuff. It's great.
Yeah.
I love it. Gnome is my favorite.
So like
no,
stuff going on in the books, but they can definitely use the elements around them to make easier weaves on themselves to do stuff.
I like Gnome's last comment, by the way. Well, not the one that just came, but before that.
The pace got screwed up? Which one?
This one.
Oh.
They can have as many as they want, but they might be able to handle as many when they age.
If that's the case,
that's how that
works.
So an hour into
might
this,
as well bond every single soldier in your army.
So since we're an hour into this, are there any other changes before we kind of shift here?
We're still on the first question.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Questions
man.
question.
But
We got about 10 minutes.
Let's move on.
So I'm gonna have say Tavern.
Yes.
What's one of your favorite scenes of this season?
Ooh.
Man.
Here we go. Jim, it's okay. Just hold on to your heart and just massage it a little bit. It'll be fine. I personally thought that the scene with Rand at Al-Qaeda Dal, his speech, the way they moved into his channeling, and it was kind of like a rhythmic, almost like he was doing like a sword form, but without his sword, as he was channeling, and he was doing like forms like you would in karate or martial arts. And I thought it was very fitting how he did that, being that he's channeling Saidin instead of Saidar. Or did I get that backwards? No, I got that right?
You got it right.
I got it right. Sorry.
You're right.
But and it's a struggle, so I could see where it would be almost like a sword form or like a fight, a martial arts fight to grab a hold of it and kind of wrestle. And I thought that was just done so outstanding. Yeah.
I thought it was beautiful.
Like talking about this scene, like we can talk about like the best actors in that scene, the CGI of that scene, and the themes of this scene. For me, like this scene here, one of the things I liked about this is they had at the very end of it, they were talking about the dragon is one with the land.
Yeah.
And they kind of zoomed out, and as they're zooming out, we see the storm is raging across the land.
Gathering storm, you mean?
Well, it goes beyond
I see what you did there.
I'm just saying.
But
wow. Damn, Bill. That was poetic as shit.
Because this thing that's going on,
I liked it.
we see elements of this in, what was it? I think episode 4. And some of the other episodes with the little girl.
Oh,
then we see
episode
comment with him and Egwene. As Rand's getting upset, we're kind of seeing like this thunder erupt around him.
Yeah,
the ground's rumbling.
Yeah.
So as he's channeling at Alcair, it's like he's channeling this weave, but like other stuff's going on around him.
Yeah, no, it was outstanding. The only thing that, and it wasn't during that particular scene, but it was something that Rand did that I did not like. It was cool that it was there, but it wasn't explained. There was no arrow saying this is who this is when Rand is out looking out toward the dunes and he sees Lews Therin standing there. That shadowy form. No, Rafe, I think Rafe said it was Lews Therin.
Yeah, he did.
And I was like, well, where was the cliff note for that, Rafe? Because nobody freaking had a clue who the fuck that was.
Yeah, but I thought it was Robin.
I assumed it was Lews
If I'm cussing too much, please tell me.
Apparently, there was whispering in the background of that music too.
Mm-hmm. Is there what?
Whispering in the music in the background.
Oh, yeah, I did.
I
said there was whispering during the lightning too.
You hear it when he's weaving with Alcera, the whispering, the madness creeping in. Yeah, nice. It's brilliantly done.
I didn't catch that one. All closing scenes contain the gathering storm.
Yep, and we see it globally. We see it in Tenchiko.
Yep,
in the background.
We see it in the Two Rivers. We see it everywhere.
Yeah,
and like that's beyond just Rand's one power.
No, that's
literally dragon is one with the land.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Folks, as I stated, I thank you for letting me answer that question, Max. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Thanks for coming on.
I have to drop. Thank you for having me. Please let me know if you guys ever want me back. Jim, a pleasure.
It's lovely to see your face.
Glad to be here. I had a wonderful time.
Yeah, thank you. Glad to have you on. We'll have you on again for something sooner or later.
Just buzz me up anytime.
Talk to you soon.
Take care.
Good night.
Night.
You mean beam me up?
Yeah, beam me up.
For me, I think, there's before the battle, the Perrons in the forge and him and Fael have a very serious conversation. And that for me is one of those well acted emotional moments where you know where everybody's coming from and you know why they're feeling the way they're feeling. So I just connected to that moment. It's one of my favorite moments of the season. That whole conversation where she's like, are you trying to get rid of me because you're scared your axe is going to end up in me the way it did in your wife?
Right.
Set this
right. And, and yes, I got the double entendre there.
Guys, yeah.
My favorite scene.
Well, I was going to say,
season.
We should keep talking about that scene before we keep going around.
Okay.
Because there are some themes to explore on that.
Yeah. Perrin's fear that his anger is going to lead to hurting Fael. Completely understandable. Fael being like, look, stop being a dick and I'm here to help is what it comes down to. And that, you should respect me for the warrior I am. If I'm going to fight, then you should respect me the same way you respect any other fighter. End of story. And I love that he finally comes around, and he comes around a lot quicker in the show than he does the books. Yeah. And I feel like we're getting.
They had to speed that up.
A much better relationship, 100%. And I think this is one of the major building blocks that they'll be able to build their relationship from. And I loved it. So
I feel that the contrast of her talking about people dying for a cause is a massive contrast to Rand's future problems with women dying for his cause.
Yeah.
Like he needs Fail to have that conversation to him.
Yes.
But he's not going to get that.
He might.
Not from her. But like whatever, he had that conversation with Fail, and that really helped him get out of his head about his own grief. And now Rand is
fear.
Yeah. And now Rand's suffering grief and all this other stuff going on.
I think it's possible we could have Avienda step in and slap some sense into Rand sooner or later.
She's not too busy slapping Elaine, but that's a different topic.
I mean, different kind of slapping.
Why not both? I mean, just saying.
Let's see, Glenn.
Oh, I had to mute for a second. Sorry about that.
Oh, no,
there was a lot
better
of
that
noise
way.
coming from the other room. My favorite scene is probably the grossest scene in a lot of ways, but it was brilliantly done. And that's the scene where Moghedien compels the girls, NyNiamh and Elaine.
Oh, yeah.
And
I thought you were going to say cake eating.
No, that scene in Tanchico when she's in their room, and just on every level, it's creepy, gross, but it's just done so wonderfully. I mean, it was brilliantly written. Acting was just, I was blown away. It's my favorite episode of the show, or my favorite scene in the show, the entire 3 seasons. My favorite scene. So. It really blew me away. I thought everybody involved with it just did the most amazing job they've done on this show yet. Especially Zoe. I mean, the looks on her face. I mean, yeah, when she breaks her block, she has some great looks on her face. But when she's holding that, that wrist, that cuff, that bracelet, and not letting go, and she's still trying to smile. You're seeing this war, and it's just, I mean,
it's well done. I mean,
sure.
There's some interesting CGI with Moggy's use of the one power there, and we definitely have some ongoing themes between manipulation going on here with what Moggy's doing there, as well as what Lanfear does throughout the season.
Yeah, hers is more emotional, so it's a lot more subtle.
Yeah.
There's no power involved, but she's leveraging everything personally that she can against Rand. So.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you have Ravens with his compulsion. Different side of the manipulation game.
Yeah, he seems a lot more subtle.
The compulsion. Like, you don't see any. It's like he just oozes it.
Yeah.
Where he walks, he compulses. It's just
great.
Yeah.
So we have.
I mean, imagine if we saw the weaves he was using.
Yeah. Oh, we also have Elida manipulating people.
Sure. Naturally.
Well, it's Elida. So
she's playing the game. But Elida's playing the game.
And Elida being manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, you could probably make an argument that Suana is manipulating, but I'm not sure how good a job she did.
Well, she tries. She kind of fails.
100% Varen.
Team Varen. Love me some Varen.
Yep, Varen. All the way.
Let's see.
Completely.
Jim?
Love it. I
got a t-shirt at Jordan Con. It says, "This is my green shirt."
Mm.
Oh,
I have my favorite scene, and then my not serious favorite scene. But I'll give you my favorite scene first, because it's a subtle thing, it's a little thing, but I was so thrilled to see it. In episode 8, when we got Balefire, and how they used it, and how they undid it, and it's like the elegance to that was perfect. And that's such a thing they could have completely screwed up, and they didn't. That was so nicely done. So love that we got some Balefire, and we've got real. There's meat to the balefire. So, okay, I'm just going to love that. It's a little thing, but it's big.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my less serious one is every freaking scene with Shorey Agdashlu. Elida is awesome. She gets this character. Holy crap. So
I hate her so much.
Shorey,
yeah, but I love that I hate her.
So I'm going to stick you to pick a theme for something with Shorey.
Oh God, patience. She has patience. She sits back and waits to strike.
She's got 20 years of
flowers. Roses, I think, is her thing, isn't it?
Definitely.
Definitely. That is her theme.
Roses and gaudiness.
I have to say, I loved
narcissism.
the little Easter egg in her costume of the beautiful costume she's wearing when she's in the red supporters with the flowers and stuff. Because if you look at that really clearly, it's got every single color of every single Aja in it. So it's almost like a little nod that she's going to be Amerlin, because it's there she is, and she's in the colors of all 7 Ajas.
She portrayed so well her disgust yet reverence for Swan / the Amerlin seat. I hate you, but yes, mother. I mean, it was just beautifully done. Oh my goodness.
She was the right person to cast.
Yep.
As much as we all thought she'd be better than Cad Swain, she might actually have been better as Cad Swain. We don't know. We'll never know, but
I don't
she's
think
good
we're
for
going to get
Elida.
Cad Swain now. I think Moraine is going to take the Cad Swain role, but
I don't know, because Cad Swain's name has been dropped twice. So I reckon we probably might end up getting her.
I wish we
did. And I still think, and I still hope that something will happen with Lanfear and Moiraine.
I mean, if Cad Swain comes, you know Moraine is gone.
Here's my thing. I think it would be wise if they're going to have Moraine do what she does in the books, bring Cad Swain in early, have her take over the Swan role to humanize her and show her working with Egwene, that she's a reasonable person. That way, when she goes and beats Cad Swain with Rand, everybody understands this is a tactic. This is a ploy. Yeah. That is not how she acted with Egwene at all. So it would humanize her a lot more and make her relatable instead of detestable. At least in my opinion.
That theory. Yeah, I actually like that theory. That's good.
What I would do. So I'm hoping.
Do you have the scene, Nye?
Oh, your favorite scene?
Yeah.
Well, we've already discussed my favorite scene, so maybe I'll say what my second favorite is, which is NyNiamh underwater. Because obviously the Althera scene with Rand channeling is my favorite. But the scene with NyNiamh underwater, I spent a lot of time after seeing that scene thinking about it and everything that went on in that scene. And the more I learned about how that scene was done, the more and more I love that scene. Especially as Zoe insisted on performing that underwater, which isn't generally done that often anymore because of the dangers to actually acting underwater and the risks to life, because so many people have almost died doing that kind of acting. But she insisted she wanted to do it. So when you see her underwater and she's actually that's her doing all that and acting while probably struggling to breathe, it just makes that scene so much more powerful and so more incredible. Kudos to Zoe. She's just brilliant. Just brilliant. The fact she could calm herself down and she could think and she could close her eyes and relax and not struggle anymore. And then,
Yeah, I agree. That was extremely powerful. I think that was number 3 on my list. 2 was Matt beating the crap out of the royals.
But that was so much fun. That was fun.
Reasons.
That was fun. I just wish there had been an audience.
Good.
I wish there had been an audience beyond NyNiamh.
Right?
Just so that the boys got taken down a notch in front of all the Aes Sedai and accepted in houses.
The warders,
is a missing piece, but still,
the warders would have enjoyed seeing the boys get knocked down a notch. It was all the women folk.
Yeah.
That would have been upset, and I wanted that, but we didn't get it.
Such an incredible scene, though.
Another piece of they're cutting out Gawain and Galad's storylines. We're not going to get the younglings. There won't be anything like that. They don't have room for that. So they don't need the warders seeing what happened here.
Yeah.
Well, there's still a battle to come at the White Tower.
Yeah, that could still happen. I made this point, I think, or a point similar to this.
We've only seen the coup itself. We haven't seen the immediate aftermath.
Or it'll be fast forward 6 months later when I'll forget it. Did you have a theme at all for NyNiamh's underwater stuff?
Empowerment.
Yeah.
I find that, and coming to accept yourself for who you are, it's such an incredible scene for me as a woman, obviously. And as a woman with anxiety who spends a lot of time self-doubting and being fearful and afraid of different things, to see someone on screen who was dealing with that kind of fear and dealing with that kind of anxiety, just embrace it and become empowered, that's very, very big for me. So it's just such an incredible scene.
Yeah, I love that she has to give up control in order to gain control. And her acceptance of that is just, it's an amazing moment. And, like Chad has said, her face when she reaches shore, the face acting is so on point.
Did you see what I used for our thumbnail? Was that look?
Yeah.
Was that's the thumbnail to this video, so thought it was perfectly apt.
So the scene I picked, because I'm going for, there's quite a few scenes in this season, obviously. And the one I kind of keep going back to is memorable. And it may not be necessarily the most obvious one. It's the Egwene's dream sequence where she's going in everybody's dreams. And there's a specific sequence. It's where Matt is visiting his sisters. And his mother specifically says that she's proud of him.
Yeah.
It's that sequence that hits me the hardest.
Yeah. What gets me about that scene is that Matt's response, even in his dreams, is stunned silence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, he doesn't even know how to accept his mother's love and praise in his dreams.
Mm-hmm.
He can't even do it. He doesn't know how to fathom that. And that just breaks my heart. So that's why that scene hit me.
And I think that's true for a lot of people.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, that is sad. And he'll never get the chance now, which makes it a little bit worse. So,
and unfortunately, I don't really have a theme for that. It's one of those scenes that that's one I keep coming back to. Though I will say, I guess I could say partly theme, but there is the Ale saying about life is a dream. And
from which we all must wake.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I do feel like this is something that's going to come into the series at some point. And that his mother in there wasn't necessarily just a dream.
That's what I'm thinking as well. I think it was like her spirit visited him to let him know that she's proud of him. He doesn't know she's dead.
The timing is just too coincidental, and her look back at the camera says it's too much of just a dream.
Yeah.
And since we know more about the dream than the character does, I think she woke from the dream.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a bit of dramatic irony in a way, isn't it? Because we know what he doesn't know.
Yep.
So
I think she could be the reason he tries to run from Tyr during the battle. He finds out about his mom. So,
Hello, Ben.
Tiny
Ben.
little
Kiss
thing.
my ass,
Matt,
Ben.
a question. I'm still upset that they made Matt's dad suck. Am I the only one upset with that?
I was at first, but
Abel Coffin, come on, he's a good guy. What
yeah,
is up with that?
yeah. I was upset that they made Matt white trash, and just that's what they did, and
Totally.
I didn't like it, but I thought about it a lot. You know, from the time we saw what they were doing with Matt to the time, you know, and since then, and it helps put showcase Matt's responsible side a lot earlier than we get it showcased in the books. When you're reading the books, you don't think Matt's the responsible type, like ever, until like book 5, you know. But I like seeing it early on. I liked that moment during the Trolloc attack where it was Matt that went off looking for his sisters, not his parents. I liked what it did for Matt in a lot of ways. I can understand like I said, I was mad about it too, but I came to accept it. You know, it doesn't bother me much at all anymore.
All right.
You know, it kind of works. It kind of does seem to work. You know, and we'll see that Abel's not the drunk anymore that he was.
Right.
I'm pretty sure when he comes back, when we see him, you know, we'll see him season 4 because we're going to have Perrin season 4. You know, we're not
certain White Cloak
no
has the drinking covered.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But we'll see all of that. Well, yeah, Abel will have a redemption.
He's probably gonna be recast as well, is my bet.
Yeah, I think Lord Luke's gonna get recast too.
I'm hoping we get Tam back eventually, and don't you dare recast him.
Oh, they better not.
No.
Love that.
Well, I'm Mr. Recast. I like Michael Atton a lot too. I love that he went from playing with the world's worst dad to the world's best dad.
I only see him for Tam now, except he has to be shorter. I always saw Tam a little shorter. But,
honestly, this is one of the reasons I kind of like when people say you can't recast this actor, is they recast half of season 1 in this season.
Yeah.
I love Nymaryn Alvear.
I love her too. That moment she comes out in episode 8 and asks Aram about, you Tuatha and you fix stuff, right? You want to be our new blacksmith? I'm like, that broke my heart. That was so wonderfully nice. It was just one of my favorite touches in the season.
And it's a recreating of that character. So I don't think we're going to get the rest of his storyline. I don't think we'll need it anymore.
I'm okay with that. Honestly.
No,
I am too.
Better. Yeah.
I don't know. I think he'll end up following Perrin, because he might not.
But he's not latched to Perrin like a lost puppy anymore. Now he's going to be more.
I hope he doesn't follow Perrin.
Character, and I think that
would be good. He's used to moving around. He's used to not being in one place all the time.
He's also used to running.
And he might find it very uncomfortable being in one place all the time, and it might not suit him. When you're free, like the Tuatha are to roam, becoming a blacksmith in a little tiny village in the middle of the Misty Mountains, basically, that could be like a chain and ball for him.
Although
if we get the
blacksmiths do travel with armies, so
I was going to say,
follow through, and they're gonna go and be Perrin's army eventually. He won't stay in one spot.
Well, I was going to say, if we get the Dragonthorn from season 2 back into season 4, we got Aram as a possibility.
Maybe.
Because it is kind of the whole Borderlanders from season 2 out of nowhere. They just kind of went poof, disappeared.
I was glad to finally see Paddin Fane show up again. I was like, where's Paddin Fane? We ever going to see him? But then it was a little weird, his storyline in this stuff. But still, I was glad to see him.
Yeah, especially he's one of the better performers in there. Fits their role in so many ways.
Sure.
Plays their role.
I would like to see him do a little less evil cackling laughter.
You want more whistling? Just whistle.
Well, maybe something a little more subtle in the future.
Who is it? We were on talking about it on Way of the Leaf earlier, and somebody brought up they think Paddin Fane is being merged with Shaidar Haran because Paddin Fane is getting messages from the Dark One. Who does that in the books? Shaidar Haran. So I'm like, that is a possibility I never considered.
I can't fathom that.
That's if you take what he said at face value and interpret it the way it sounds.
Well, yeah.
When he said the Dark One says, Dark One wants it wiped off the map, I wipe it off the map.
Noman Garden, that's great. That comment, love it. I wish I'd heard that. That's my Jordan Con piece. Love it.
All right, Max, what's next?
Well, we could keep talking about different scenes, or that's pretty much it.
Oh my God. We got through this.
It's only been an hour and a half.
Holy shite.
Wow. There's 6 of us.
Because yeah.
Over an hour.
Unless you have a specific CGI sequence you want to mention.
Hey, the scene, the way they portrayed the sea. Oh my!
Parting of the Red Sea.
No, the weaving of the sea.
Oh, the sand.
Oh yes, yeah.
Oh, sea folk.
Thank you. I'm old and the mind blocks. Okay, the sea folk. The way they put that on the screen. Beautifully done. Even you could see the nuance between that's wind, that's air, or that's air, that's water. I mean, so far ahead of what they were doing with channeling in season 1.
Yes, 100%.
Thank God for the different CGI team, the special effects team that came on for season 2. They have since season 2 they've had a different special effects team.
Again, more money.
Can they please go back and paint over all the weaving in season 1 so we get all that beautiful work that they've done in the last 2 seasons? But that the Aurora weave of the sea folk,
gorgeous,
God, incredible. If I could weave, I want it to be something like that. Maybe a bit of a Van Gogh Starry Sky Aurora Borealis weave, but it was just stunning.
No, Glenn's got in his background picture the column down, and I love how that showed up with the boar and all that. I thought it was good. I heard people hated it, and I'm like, "Who are you?"
I really liked it.
I
have one nitpick.
Yeah, we know the one you're talking about.
I have one nitpick about the way they did that. I think they should have given us the impression it was further away, and so there should have been a sound delay. And there was no sound delay. There was no sound delay. That's my only problem with that sequence there.
And
is that it didn't have a sound delay.
Has made an appearance. All right. The night is full.
I had to have a nitpick with there was delay. Otherwise, yeah, I think that's the CG was pretty good throughout the whole thing, except there is one shot that doesn't work for me, and it's when the chains are animated wrapping around NyNiamh. As they're wrapping around, they look like gok. Yeah, a little octopus.
Speaking of Age of Legends, we missed the show cars, Joe cars, whatever they're called.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
There's both show wings and Joe cars, I think.
Basically, the flying cars. I think they're described as.
Yes.
For me, it was the Lanfear Moraine fight. The special effects on that was amazingly awesome. The shields, the fireballs, everything. I love the fact that as she's pulling the sword out, she's heating the sword up. So she's cauterizing the wound, which is why she doesn't bleed to death.
Yeah.
You can see the fire going around the sword as she's pulling it out. She's cauterizing her own wounds, which is just a nice little touch. I love that.
Am I the only one who enjoys the transition from one death to the next death of Moiraine's and her vision?
I thought that was incredible.
Flipping earth. I loved it. I've seen people online bitching about it. I love it. I love that transition from shot to shot. As much as I loved the end in season 1, the one thing I liked in episode 8 of season 1 was that camera circling around Rand channeling at Ishamael, and it kept going back and forth from the dream world to reality. And I know a lot of people bitched about that. I loved it.
My son's partner, she got nauseous watching the flip. So
really,
for some people, it was motion sickness almost the way.
Wow.
But I'm like, oh, okay. If that's something that got you, yeah.
I mean, if that happens, I'm sorry. I really liked it. I thought it was amazing.
Did you see how they did it?
No, I didn't.
No.
Special type of camera.
They have a camera on a board. They have the board on a spindle, and the board is literally going like that. They had to cut holes in the floor, and they had to be very precise with their timing, and the actors had to sync up with the camera.
Cool.
So that they could perform at the exact right moment, because it was really quick. It went whoop, and it would sink in the floor and swing back around.
Nice.
So they could do multiple takes, but the actors had to reset really fast. It's a really technical thing they did for that shot. It's amazingly done. But
they've done some really amazing technical stuff on this show. I give the show that. I've always said, other than a few design choices, my only issues are really writing and then nitpicks. So I have come to the conclusion there are 2 sets of outfits I don't care for, and I've talked about that in the past. Yes. I don't like the Black Aja, and I don't like the Tuathan. I don't see the Tuathan when I see those outfits.
No, I didn't have a problem.
I think when they did the Tuathan outfits, they were trying to show a relevance to who they are historically. Which, I can get if someone's from Ireland and from Europe. So, but whether it fit in such a futuristic show is another thing.
Yeah. People think that I just wanted tie-dye. No, I just wanted bright, vibrant, obnoxiously bright and vibrant colors. Give me 2 colors that
don't lie.
Tie-dye would have made me really happy. But it wasn't necessary. I just wanted bright, vibrant colors. Stripes, polka dots, even. But stripes, I think, are referred to at times. But because it's supposed to be garish. I think that word is used 2 or 3 times in the books to describe the way Tuatha dress.
We have a Lida for that. We don't need it.
Yeah. She's gaudy. She's gaudy.
Maybe Sharon should give us in the lighted dress.
You could say their outfits are garish in the quality. Because they are, I want to say not quite patchwork, but they're rougher looking.
Threadbare.
I have what might be a lore question. They made a point of showing that the Tuatha are vegetarian. We don't know about vegan. It's quite possible they're vegan, but they're at least vegetarian. Won't eat meat.
I'd say vegan, considering they don't eat the stew that doesn't have the meat removed.
Is that something they picked up after they left the Aiel caravan?
No.
Because the Aiel caravan, when the boys pick up the spear, the one says we can use it to put food in the pots. That's implying you're killing animals.
Oh, you mean that? Yeah.
Die, Fern. Yeah. Probably you were talking about animals.
Yeah.
When did the Tuatha adopt vegetarianism?
Probably
when they split. After they split.
Yeah. It's just something I was wondering about watching this. I'm like, huh. You know, that was just something that made me go, If anybody remembers that.
Yeah, no, I was thinking you were thinking of season 1, and I'm like, no, they were vegetarians in season 1 too.
Yeah.
Oh no!
You gotta love the look on Isla's face when she's looking at Aram about to eat the bowl of stew that's had the meat.
And I think he does.
And he gets annoyed. He's like,
yeah, but I think it looks like he picks it back up and like he's getting ready to start digging in. And then they cut away to another shot and you don't see. So it looks like he got tired of her bullshit and was hungry. But yeah, picking out the bits, I'm just like, oh no, you don't know.
She tried. She just
doesn't
didn't understand.
Yeah, I know. It was so sweet of her, but you're right. She didn't understand.
So another scene from this season that I'm curious your takes on it. Maybe I'm just an old-fashioned fogey, but something I didn't particularly care for was how quickly Elaine and Avienda are having a make-out session on the roof when they've barely spent any time together. I know it's an old fan theory that they
on a boat together.
Baths together and been a thing, but it made no sense to me.
I like that.
Well, like Nine said, how many months on a boat?
A month.
A month on a boat. A month.
My notes literally say this is. I wrote. It was one of the first things I wrote down yesterday was I like the NyNiamh or the Elaine and Avienda stuff, but I think it's a little fast.
Exactly. That's all I'm saying.
I don't
rushed.
How old are
Given the context, I don't, because if it was my last night of freedom. I've been drinking, and you're going to give me the opportunity to hook up with somebody. At that age, I would have taken it.
How old are they?
All right, put that way.
I would have taken it.
22, 23,
20.
Yeah.
20.
I would have taken it. Absolutely.
Actually, Elaine is 20. Elaine is 20.
Maybe it's just me. All right.
Yeah.
All
like I said, they're 20.
No, like I said,
they spent a month on a boat alone together.
I had issue with how fast it happened.
I mean, they'd established already that you can have same-sex things happening, no problem. It's all good. They had the IEO relationships already there on the screen. So they'd set the stage for it, but it just felt rushed to me.
I don't think so.
A little, it felt real fast to me, but I get what they're saying too. They make making points.
Like, think about
it. I do
it.
think it makes sense, though.
You can hook up with somebody that you've just met. So the fact that it took them a month to hook up, to me, is like, the fact that they spend the whole month flirting about, dancing around,
staring at each other on the ship.
I spent a year flirting with my wife before we ever did anything.
I love that.
Shut my mouth.
Wow.
I mean, Elaine had a whole rooftop set up for her. Elaine had a whole rooftop set up for her, so. She's lucky we weren't candles and stuff too.
Oh yeah, it was very.
That brings me to my one gripe that I have for the season. Moggy says the gray men were supposed to go after Elaine. They just straight up start shanking NyNiamh and don't go anywhere near Elaine. She's literally upstairs, like full on.
Sedai all looked alike.
So I'm like, okay, I don't get that, but sure. That was my one complaint.
I get that. I noticed that Moiraine
they went after Elaine and NyNiamh later.
Wait, what?
You said they didn't go after Elaine, our gay man. They went after her later, the next episode.
Yeah, the second one went after Elaine.
Yeah, but
the first one was
got her out of the way.
The first one was supposed to go after her.
I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. The only Aes Sedai in this season that did not know what a gray man was Moiraine. All the others already knew or mentioned him on their own, and she was the only one who was puzzled as to what that guy was. And I was like, that was odd. It was something I noticed yesterday and today. I'm not judging anything. I just thought it was interesting.
Swan even know what it was?
Yeah, Swan mentions him.
Varen
mentions them.
Yeah.
And somebody else, Leandrin, I think, mentions him.
Yeah.
It was one of the Black Raja.
They've had issues like that in the past where people know things they shouldn't know. Just in general.
There are little inconsistencies.
Great, so.
Yeah. I can't get. There are inconsistencies that this show has that are minor that I don't often even point out. So
I think that's Maria's job in the books. I think what they call it, like
continuity.
Continuity. There you go.
Continuity errors.
And I don't think that's Sarah's job. I'm not positive.
No, it's not.
No.
But shows generally have a continuity manager of some sort for writing.
Director, yes.
Yeah, they make mistakes like Starbucks cups in the background and shit like that all the time. So,
or Zenobia bringing in a scene and the shredding. And
I'm just saying because that is a continuity error.
But no, like seriously, even Castle, like you guys mentioned before, has a continuity person on staff. Right. And I'm not sure who's on this show, but like they need to definitely work on this in general.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the shredding, there's the scene where you've got all the sitters in the hall, and Zenobia is there 1 minute as Amiko, but then apparently she tested positive for COVID, and they put someone else in instead. But then they still use that shot instead of just
It was really good.
That's the editors. That's the editor. They really like that shot.
But then we also found out that from like Sarah Nakamura that some of this writing happened before the writer's strike.
Yeah.
And then they couldn't go back and rewrite stuff after the writer's strike, which to me is like, I don't understand why you can't rewrite stuff after the writer's strike.
Right.
But then I guess maybe they already directed it. I don't really know.
I think you're so far behind the ball, you just can't.
Yeah.
You literally have to get caught up and going backwards.
Yeah. It could be a case of if they start doing rewrites from scenes early in the season,
but then
they
like
might have
it's
a
also like
effect
we have
on all the other episodes. So you may end up having to do full rewrites of everything.
Yeah. But
so
I'm also looking at like
just for a little bit.
When it takes almost 2 years for an episode to come out, it's like at what point do you just do the rewrite?
This is true. Without the strike, they were going to cut the eelfin, but they couldn't.
Interesting. Well, I still wanted the eelfin. So can I chime in on something that showed up in the chat?
Bring it up.
Referencing a comment I made and now calling me haters gonna hate, and just want to say this is one of the things that I find disappointing about how the fans react to anything on the show. We all have the right to have an opinion and to love what we love and disagree what we disagree with. It doesn't mean we hate the show. It doesn't mean we disparage the people working on the show. I think the people working on the Wheel of Time are working their butts off. If I was a less mature person, I'd say working their asses off. Oops, sorry. But I respect that. It doesn't mean I have to agree with every choice they make, and disagreeing with the choice does not make me a hater. So just saying. And for those of you that feel likewise, it's all good, man. Still just love.
Amen.
Yeah, no, there's things I don't like.
Stuff. I'm tired of Leandrin for starters. I'm kind of just thinking that at this point she needs to
more than done with Leandrin.
Great actress, but yeah, they're going.
It's great, but
finding that character down.
I can't wait to see the end of her. Something fierce.
Put Overseer's comment on the screen. That's pretty good.
Well, she's trying to work with Moggy, so she's gonna die. Let's face it.
Yeah. How some people have reacted hasn't been very nice. That doesn't mean paint everybody with the same brush.
Right.
But there's a way to show your dislike about something. And then there's a way that just isn't nice.
I had a whole announcement our last episode we did with Tom and Crystal from Dragon Mount, where I opened the whole show up by saying, hey, it's okay if you don't like the show. It's not a big deal. But what you shouldn't do is turn around and be hateful, make death threats, and stupid stuff like that. It's like, come on, man. We're not that kind of fandom, and we shouldn't be.
What are you doing, Glenn?
Oh,
we are gone.
I'm sorry.
We're gone.
I don't know. I thought I was trying to pop Bill up. That's not it either.
What's happening?
Well, you're gonna have to
doing
whisper
it
in my
live.
ear.
That's why I don't play with that.
I was gonna
have
say,
to whisper
if
in
I
my
don't
ear.
like a show, I just don't watch it. I didn't like Legend of the Seeker, so I just didn't watch it.
Oh, good.
And not necessarily because I don't touch the books. Like, horrible author, don't read them. Show is awful too.
Yeah. The Shannara Chronicles, man, I wanted to love that. I really wanted to love that. I could not love that.
I never got into it.
Kind of liked it for what it was.
Did you?
I'm sorry.
And I watched every episode.
I thought it was all right.
I waited so long for Shannara in any shape or form. So I was just kidding.
I'm gonna have to give it another try, but I couldn't get past the MTV stars.
Yeah. I wasn't their audience.
Didn't get into it the second time round.
I wasn't their audience
the first
either.
time round, I devoured it, and I was one of the people who gave out and demanded a renewal when it was cancelled. Because come on, he's awesome. He's perfect.
I love the Dexter series, even though like the later seasons just are horrible. But I watch it despite how bad it gets. Even the new season I
heard the new season was kind of good. Am I wrong? I
haven't watched the newest season they come out with. But now they're having a Dexter Resurrection where he comes back from the dead somehow. I'm still gonna watch that one.
Well, he's not necessarily dead. He got shot, but he's not necessarily dead.
Well, no, he was dead, and now they're just retconning it that he's alive.
No, he wasn't dead.
I didn't watch enough of
Dexter. They buried him. He was dead.
I missed that part. So,
I've seen like a handful.
They buried somebody.
I'm still waiting to hear more about Magician and Rift War, and we have heard nothing in over 2 years about that.
Is that coming to an adaptation?
That long since that? Yeah, it was bought up. The rights were just was it that long ago?
Favorite fantasy series. I would love that.
Yeah,
I know, right?
We did the Magician non-terrestrial, and
she was one of our early guests on Non-Terrestrial Half-Life.
Yeah,
such a great series.
We were so excited about the idea of a show.
I'm getting those books in hardcover through the broken binding over the next 3 months. The first trilogy. I'm so excited for that. Oh, beautiful book.
Yeah. Earlier, I don't remember if it was before we started streaming, but I think Bill was talking about comfort reads, having something for a comfort read. And growing up for a long time, Raymond E. Feist was my comfort read.
Yeah.
So, those are always, I'd love to see those adapted.
My son
is
really a lot of fantasy from that era, from the older time. He's like, it feels dated, old, but I got him to read Rift War, that original trilogy, and he's like, no, this is just good. And it's like,
And it doesn't feel dated, other than, as we've discussed before, how flat his female characters are in the original trilogy.
Right. Right.
It's not outdated. And he's got loads of undertones in those books that are more relevant today. And even having a gay couple in the book, without spelling it out, them. So Colgan and Meacham, and you just know that they're a couple, and he doesn't have to spell it out, because when he was writing those, it was very rare to have anyone have openly gay characters in their novels. Like, the Dispossessed by Ursula Le Guin, fair fucking play for her. 1974. Yeah. And
McCaffrey's Pern books had openly gay characters.
Totally.
Yeah,
in the Weirs.
And that's ahead of their time, in my opinion, especially when you look at the discourse around it back in the 70s and 80s. And a lot of countries didn't unban and legalize homosexuality until the 90s. So it's same with Jordan, like his is a very undertoned. So like I find those books are so so in tune today because they're dealing with issues and things that weren't open then. Whereas there's a lot of books that are obviously very outdated.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't read well today.
Okay, I
Bill
hate to
and
cut you
I-
off.
Yeah.
I hate to cut you off. We're about 2 hours in. Let's have everyone
Right.
give their favorite actor this season, and then wrap up the episode.
Oh,
Bill, you can't say
Costa.
Shoro.
Laia Costa. Mogedian, by far.
Yeah. Yeah, Leia Costa, without a doubt.
Shorig Agdashlu. Come on.
She's my number
Elida.
2. She's my number 2. She feasted well, but every time O'Gideon was on was an event. Something.
So you said Shora feasted, Mohigan feasted.
Oh, yes, she did.
The one I'm looking forward to watching more of, though, is Isabella Buccieri. As Fail. I just like listening to her talk. Her voice, her accent as Fail just drives me wild. But that's another thing.
I would eat her chewed up food. I am that attracted. And
yeah.
No, sorry. No.
We're gonna put this in Bill's GoFundMe for his birthday.
Absolutely, I will happily take that.
I can't remember what that service is called. It's like a hire celebrities to do things.
Cameo.
Cameo. There you go.
Cameo.
There we go. We can get a fund for Bill going for Cameo.
Dude, if she said hi to me, that's enough, dude. I am good. Just say hi to me. Acknowledge my existence, please, and then step on me. I've been very bad. Sorry. What?
Oh, step on me, yes.
Oh, dear.
Tell me to call you mistress. Okay, yes, well, whatever.
Just saying.
Is that anybody else got anything to bring up? I want to thank you again, NyNiamh, for getting up in the middle of your night and coming on. Thank you so much. It's been so much fun talking to you again. It's been, for me, it's been a year or so since we did that on the other channel. So, Jim, it's been a little while since we've talked on face to face. Yeah, so it's always good to see you, my friend.
It's always a pleasure to hang with you guys.
Yes, always a pleasure. Bill, and you in the chair. What's your name again?
I don't know.
Oh, Max. Yeah, Max. Thanks. Thank you guys as always. Thank you guys in the chat for watching. Thank you guys at home. Please leave a like, a subscribe. Hit that bell while you're at it. Leave some comments, and may the 4th be with you. Don't forget to be awesome.
And also with you.